Okay, open your books to page 624. We're going to take a look at problem 57. On problem 57, we have to use the sum and difference formulas. And the difference is, this time, we have a triangle. And we have alpha and beta. So we're going to start by taking a look at cosine of alpha plus beta. And then we need to look at the sine of alpha plus beta. And finally, we're going to do the tangent of alpha plus beta. So we know from our index cards that if we know these, the cosine, the sine, and the tangent, we'll be able to calculate these using the sum and difference formulas. So it says that for alpha, we have a triangle in quadrant 1, and the sine of alpha is equal to 3/5. So the sine of alpha is equal to 3/5. And so we have a triangle in quadrant 1. And if this is alpha, quadrant 1's functions for cosine and tangent are all positive. All of the trig functions, again, are positive in quadrant 1. So remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So we can use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared to find this missing side. So 3 squared plus b squared equals 5 squared. And so, of course, we get that 9 plus b squared equals 25, and b squared equals 16. So this is 4. So what we've determined here is that cosine of alpha is 4/5 because it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is 3/4 because it's opposite over hypotenuse. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other function, beta. So let's just get a little room here. We're going to use that Pythagorean theorem idea. So let's take a look at the beta angle. It tells us that the sine of beta in the textbook, the sine of beta is 5/13. But the thing that it tells us is that this is in quadrant, remember this was in quadrant 1, so all of the trig functions are positive in quadrant 1. And this one is in quadrant 2. Well, the thing that you need to remember is that the only functions that are positive in quadrant 2 are sine and cosecant. So what that is telling you is that the cosine of beta will be negative, and that the tangent of beta will be negative. So let's go ahead and draw our triangle. Remember, they said this was in quadrant 2, so this is going to be my triangle for this one, with this being my right angle. And so this is beta, and so this will be 5/13. So using the same idea, 5 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared, I'm going to find that this is 12. So the cosine of beta is negative 12 over 13. And the tangent is 5/12, again, negative. Now, I have all of my trig functions, and because I have all of my trig functions, I can now find the cosine of alpha plus beta, the sine of alpha plus beta, and the tangent of alpha plus beta. So let's start with the cosine. So remember, the cosine of alpha plus beta from your index card is cosine A cosine of alpha times the cosine of beta minus the sine of alpha times the sine of beta. So the cosine of alpha plus beta, I'm going to use these values here. The cosine of A is 4/5 times the cosine of beta, which is negative 12/13, minus the sine of alpha. The sine of alpha is 3/5, and the sine of beta is 5/13. So using your calculator, you can see that these values are going to be so simplifying this, I get negative 63/65. And I really just use the calculator to multiply those in the fraction bars. So negative 63/65. Okay, now I'm going to do the sine of alpha plus beta. And so I'm going to use my index card. The sine of alpha plus beta is the sine of alpha times the cosine of beta plus the cosine of alpha times the sine of beta. And so make sure that's on your card correctly. Sine of alpha, if you recall, is 3/5. And the cosine of beta is negative 12/13 plus the cosine of alpha, which is 4/5, and the sine of beta, which is 5/13. And again, I'm going to plug that into the calculator. So for this one, again, I plugged it into the calculator and I got negative 16/65. Okay, finally, I'm ready to do the tangent. So if you recall from your calculator, the tangent of A plus B, alpha plus beta, is equal to tangent of alpha plus the tangent of beta. Now, over 1 minus tangent of alpha times the tangent of beta. Okay, so make sure that you have that on your card correctly. So the tangent of alpha is 3/4 plus the tangent of beta. The tangent of beta was negative 5/12 over 1 minus the tangent of alpha was 3/4 and the tangent of beta was 5/12, and it was negative. So I put those into the calculator. Let's see. The calculator is going to cooperate with this. There we go. So remember, I used the alpha y equals button to set up my my fractions. So I have a fraction here that looks exactly like this one, which is quite handy. So I get this is equal to 19 over 72, wasn't it? 19 over 72. So this is equal to 19 over 72. Okay, so you can see that with the use of our trig functions and with the sum and difference formulas, that we can find the exact value of many of these. And so now you're going to practice a couple more. So thanks for watching.